now that I have the window box all cleaned out, we're going to plant a little bit of transitional color. A transitional look is one of those things that I've been doing in my garden for years, where you take a transition from one season to the next and it kind of gets you through. It can be temporary, and sometimes I will take and I will build on that transitional look throughout my garden. In the St. Louis region, we have what I like to call bipolar weather. One day you feel like you're in the summertime, the next day is spring, then the next day you might even get a little bit of a summer feel, and then it may feel like fall. You really can't tell one season from the next. I like to call it my bipolar weather, but it's what I have to deal with, so honey, I gotta go with it. But we're gonna come in, now that we have the window box cleaned out, and we're gonna be planting up some beautiful hellebores. So let's get that started, because we have a ton of projects lined up for today, and I'm so excited to do them with you. Let's go get the flowers. Look at it, yes, honey, yes. Yes, look at that goodness. Go off, queen, because that's exactly what we about to do today, honey. Sometimes just coming in and turning the orientation of your hellebore will make a big difference on how many plants you have to use. So I originally brought out 6 hellebores, but I only needed to use in this arrangement here 4 because of the orientation of the plants. But I was totally prepared to, if I had to bump this one over and bump this one over, which we could come in with an extra plant, but we're just going to go with this, because now what I want to do is I want to come in and I want to build up the gaps a little bit. So let's do that. Let's run in and get some supplies. So let me make sure this is the moss we're looking for. You see these nice big chunks that we have to use here? These are going to be perfect to fill in the front of that window box. Let's grab this and head back outside. Let me tuck this in here. I'm going to go in and start using these big chunks and just kind of just fill in the spaces here. Y'all got to get in close and look at this. That just totally took and elevated the look beyond. It is absolutely beautiful. Come in and look at this, guys. Look at how when I go in and I put the moss in there, it completely elevates the look. It's absolutely gorgeous. Okay, let me see, because this piece right here is not really doing it for me. Let's see if I can find another mounded piece. Okay, so a piece like this is going to be better suited for what we need. So let's fill this in. Can you see the difference? This piece right here is very large, so I'm going to try to take and tuck this piece in right here. Hold on, I got to break some off the back, because as soon as I started to put it in, it pushed back the topiary here. have everything tucked in right here, but this little bitty hump, like I really want to accent the fact that we have this moss here, but this one piece is not cooperating. How it's like, you can see, kind of see a little bit of the root balls here, but this one piece, I want to just have moss coming right in through here, right here, and it's not allowing me to. So I'm going to have to manipulate this moss a little bit. Let me see if we can find another piece. Now this might work. It's flat, and you guys, this is preserved moss that was grew alone. They bring it out, they dry it. Let's see, maybe this one. Let's try it. All right, now see, that's perfect, you guys. Now if I can just find a little piece to go right here. And I know one may be thinking, you can't even see back there, but I'm telling you. Let's see. Perfect. My Amaryllis bulbs are blooming extremely fast since I'm working on getting my bulbs from bulb to bloom faster. I have so many Amaryllis bulbs in bloom right now that I don't know what to do with them. So we're going to plant up a beautiful arrangement. I'm very excited. This Amaryllis bulb right here has one in bloom, two blossoms that actually faded while they were waiting to get planted up. So I just went ahead and snipped those off. But it's not going to stop anything because we're going to grab another plant. We're going to make a beautiful arrangement to grace the table. So let's go ahead and get these babies planted up. And I'm getting exactly what I wanted, a succession of blooms. I think we're going to use this container right here. I think it'll complement the room that is going in very well. Before we start planting up this arrangement, I do want to soak up the frosty ferns that we have here. Your frosty ferns are going to want to have a moist environment. So because we're going to be pairing our frosty ferns with the amaryllis, we want to go ahead and we want to soak them in advance. So we're just going to pour a little bit of water here in this vessel. Oftentimes when I know that this is the route that I'm going to be going, I will start to soak my frosty ferns in advance. But the room that we're going to be popping these in is in need of some desperate color. The arrangements that are in this room are well overdue, and they tend to dry out a little bit faster because of the location and the placement. So because where these frosty ferns are going, the environment is going to be a little bit on the drier side. I definitely want to make sure I go ahead, give them the advantage to make sure they survive and just soak them. This is the container that we're going to be using. This is actually part of a set, and I think that it's going to definitely set the vibe in this room. It's a metal container. Now, one of the things that I truly believe, in order to have a beautiful collection of containers, you need to make sure you're being very versatile in your selection. And even if you're one that says, I only want 100% terracotta, just make sure you have versatility in the type of terracotta pots that you're picking. Same thing for concrete and even plastic containers, because let's face it, not all of us have the strength to come in and pick up big heavy containers, because you can have a small container and it's concrete and it's extremely heavy. While I was gathering everything, of course I had a guest to come in, and as soon as they seen the amaryllis that I was working with, they wanted it. I said, let me offer you another one. So you know what they did? They sat there and they counted the amount of buds and the amount of flowers. I know some may think it's petty, but I would be more inclined to say, well, just let me take that one. So we agreed to disagree. And I do admit, the one that I was working with, you're getting so much out of that small bulb. So I couldn't even be mad at him. I'm like, go ahead and just take it. So I went ahead and I grabbed some more amaryllis bulbs. So some of my amaryllis bulbs are actually going out of bloom while they're waiting to be planted. I love it. I mean, but you gotta push, push, push one container after the next. Let's believe that the gifts that I've been given this year have been amaryllis bulb after amaryllis bulb after amaryllis bulb. Arrangement is done. I love it. I love the texture, but I feel like we can elevate this a little bit more. So I think what we need to do is go upstairs, because I have the perfect plants that'll fit this arrangement just right. Here's the plants that we're going to be adding to this arrangement, so let's grab these. All right, so we're going to come back in with this peperomia here, and I feel like we have the opportunity to add some more texture, some more depth to the arrangement. So what we're going to do is we're going to come in and we're just going to start tucking in these peperomias, the variegated peperomias, to this arrangement, and I think it's going to be absolutely gorgeous. And actually, in order to build this, let's add a little bit more soil. So we're going to deconstruct the container to reconstruct it. So what we're going to do is I'm going to set this fern right here like that. And if some of the soil dissipates away from the root ball, I'm okay with that. But I want to just raise the level just a little bit on the side. But I don't want to get my frosty fern dirty. So I'm just going to tuck this in and just move it a little bit to the middle here. Everything else is great and perfect where it's at, but I'm going to have to raise the level of the soil for the peperomia. The area right here that's mounded, this is where the peperomia is going to sit right here. And then we have our space right here for our frosty fern. Now you can see how the frosty fern was slightly elevated, and let's scoot some of this soil back off the lip of our bulb here. A little bit of soil so we can go ahead and tuck in the root balls of the peperomia. So I'm going to let these soak in just a little bit more. And I'm going to add a little bit of soil to the other side as well. So it's going to mirror the other side. So we don't need much because our frosty ferns were at the perfect height. So the only thing that we're accommodating now is just the peperomia. So we'll come in and we'll tuck this around in the front just like this. We're going to clean up our Amaryllis bulb here. So I'm just coming in, anything that doesn't look attractive or appealing, I'm just snipping that off. This is absolutely gorgeous. I'm going to give you guys a 360 of what this arrangement looks like. Go ahead and clean everything off because we are going to be working with some more plants here. So let's go ahead and just get the stage ready. But you guys, this is absolutely gorgeous. It's given. It is a total read by itself. I am going to have to make sure I mist the top of my frosty ferns. That way my frosty ferns can stay happy because it's so close to this fire. It is going to dry it out a little bit more, but I am being proactive about it. And the same thing with the Amaryllis. The Amaryllis blooms are not going to last as long when they're situated close to a fire versus when they're in an environment that's not so dry. So just like I did in the window box, I'm going to come in and I'm just going to get the moss wet. That way it'll help it conform and get comfortable inside of the pot. Is going to shape a little bit better and just kind of help it just settle in a bit. We're going to go antiquing, thrifting. I love to stop at junk shops around this time of the year. Now I'm looking for a few different things. The first thing I'm looking for is a small kind of like table, a little bit larger than a bistro set, but I wanted to have 4 chairs. And then also I am looking for some wire baskets. I wanted to have a unique shape so I can use it for a beautiful arrangement. So we're going to run to the antique shop. A few other things that I like to look for when I go to antique shops, I always like to check and see if I can find anything like blue and white. I always like to check and see for any vases. I never really get lucky with finding containers at antique shops, but my eyes are always open. So let's head to the first shop.
First thing I see is a basket. Now this basket would work. The shape of it is unique, but the only thing is the height. This is nice too, just not what we're looking for. This might work right here, but it's not for sale. So let's keep looking. If we can find something like this on a smaller scale, but the same shape, it will be absolutely perfect for what we're going to use it for. This booth right here has so many things in it. We might have to look through this twice. Let's pan around and see what we can see. Oh, now I know I did not come here looking for this, but I remember having one of these as a kiddo, and it's only $65. This would be a steal. We are totally not finding anything at this point. I'm seeing a lot of baskets, but the baskets that I'm seeing, they're just not working. So I walked up. Oh, here we go. Look at this. Right at the top. Sometimes you got to look high, sometimes you got to look low, and in this case we had to look high. Now, can you see how the basket is shaped? The bottom of it is perfect. It have the grates in there. I really do like the wicker that it has around the bottom of it. So this will actually work for what we need it for, and it's really right on trend for what I wanted to use it for. So let's head back.
Now that we have our wire basket clean that we acquired while we were out on our antiquing trip, we're going to do a DIY moss planter. Now, outside, I use a moss planter. Now, I bought that one like that, but this look could be easy to achieve. And a lot of us have a lot of wire baskets laying around at home that'll be perfect to use for this. You can even get the small inexpensive baskets out of the Dollar Tree. So we found this one. I like the shape of it. One of the reasons that I wanted to go antiquing to find this is because I really like the shape of this basket here. And usually in antique and thrift shops, in secondhand stores, you can find a lot of antique baskets like this that have a nice shape to them. So let's go ahead and get started. So my neighbor just stopped by. She made a quick run for me. We'll get into that a little bit later, but we're going to run in, grab her a container, and she's also currently unloading some containers that I had in the back of my car when we were shopping, well, in the back of my truck while we were shopping. And so we didn't have any room. So what I did was I left my containers at her house. And so now she's bringing them back because I'm moving a lot of my containers out of storage, in storage, that type of thing, getting prepared for the next season. So the ones that I was able to leave at her house, she brought them back here. So let's go grab that container for her, and then we'll finish unloading the rest of the containers that she brought in, and then we'll go put them up as well. Here's the first container. Can you guys see that detailing there? Has the floral print on it. So 4 of these I pulled out of storage. I like it because the bowl is pretty deep, but it's good for you to plant in a container, and it's more of like a low bowl. Can you guys see that profile there? So this is what I look for in terracotta pots. So it's 4 of these. So let me put this back. Actually, let me go ahead and just get these in the house real quick. So here's the same exact pot. So 4 total. All right, now in the box, we have these right here. So this is nice. Some more square pots. So I'm really trying to up my game with square containers. So this is like really, really nice. And just some regular terracotta pots, but if you look at the lip is a little bit different than a traditional terracotta pot. Let me scoot back so you can see it. So can you see the detailing right here around the rim? So I pulled these out of storage as well. Then I pulled out more of these out of storage. And this shape is a little bit different than a traditional shape of a terracotta pot. So pulled out more of these. I grabbed some more of my saucers in a different size. And then some more smaller ones like these. I like to use these when I propagate. I've showed you guys that on my channel, how I like to go in and take propagations and seedlings and I bump them up to a smaller size container. That's always been my MO. All right, let's get this stuff back in the box. How did we have these in here? I think like that. And I'll put the square one off to itself. Put the smaller ones in here. Put this on this side. Nope, not gonna work. Okay, so let's pull these out right here. Move this over. Put this down. I'll put these on the side like that. And then I'll pop these in the corner. All right, let's get them inside. And I guess at this point, I really shouldn't even be calling her neighbor anymore because she doesn't even stay close to me anymore, but we still keep in touch. Our boys still keep in touch. So I might as well just say my friend, but I don't know why. I just always call her my neighbor. We're gonna start, just go in and just store them in this cabinet right here. I'm up here, these plants are looking so dry. So I'm gonna show you what we have going on here, and then I do want to make a little bit of alterations, and I'll get in and show you why in just a second. So I have a aloe vera plant. I love those. I have a ton of aloe vera plants, and I have some amaryllis bulbs that are out of bloom. So I'll show you what we'll do with those. And then I have a Eugenia topiary right here. So what I like to do is when I style my plants, I like to keep them in the same container. So since this is up against a window, it's only going to show a reflection and maybe a little bit hard to see. I'm on this smaller table right here, and then you all will be able to see everything nice and clear. I have the amaryllis bulb. So after amaryllis blooms, you just come in, take the stock out. Now, should I have done this before this amaryllis bulb was as dehydrated as it is here? Absolutely. And since these stems right here are already kind of looking on the bad side, I'm going to go ahead and just snip these off like that. It's going to come in and just cut the stalks off really quick. They're already starting to develop seed pods. Now, if you want seed pods, by all means, go ahead and let your amaryllis bulb develop seed pods. I don't want any because I have enough amaryllis bulbs. So I'm just going to snip these out, snip this off right here. So anything that doesn't look attractive, just go ahead and just take it off. And you can clean your snips in between each cut, so that way if one amaryllis bulb has some type of infection, you don't carry it over to the next one. Baby, we just snipping. So this one is done. This one is done. And I'm going to go ahead and wipe this off. This is a little seedling here. We'll water this in. Aloe vera plant. So I have a smaller myrtle here. And then I have a bigger myrtle. But I want to show you all what the base of this plant looks like, because I'm going to have to go in and correct this, so I might as well do it now. Can you see right here where you can see some of the roots? So I need to add more soil to this. And technically this should be a repot, but I just potted this up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add more soil to it. And then also I'm going to go ahead, I'll show you how we'll fix it. So we'll start off by getting everything off the top of it real quick. And then I'll put just a small little thin layer of fresh soil. Just a small little layer. because we don't have very much room. So in order to fix the erosion, what I did was I came in and I took some pebbles. I always like to clean my pebbles off before I use them because they have like a white powdery substance. And so I'll go ahead and I'll clean them off first. So because I like to do my topiaries in a set, I did the larger one. I draped them with rocks, and I also went in and added rocks to the smaller container here. Now what we're going to do is we are going to finally plant up this Hellebore arrangement, and that'll be our final project of the day. And I can't wait till you see how it turns out, because it's definitely going to be something simple. Anybody can recreate it. So let's head down to that area and let's go start working with the Hellebore. I mean, it has been, I have had so many people stopping by today, and only one of them was planned, and that was my friend, my neighbor, who stopped by the store for me. Child, I'll tell you the rest when we get come on, let's just plant it up. Actually, before I go, I do need to clean this window, honey. I need to be ashamed of myself, honey. One of my neighbors was out shopping, and I asked them if they could run and get me some sheet moss and bring it over, since they were already at Michael's, but the Michael's that they were at had the incorrect sheet moss. So we're going to have to make a quick run to Joann Fabrics in order to grab the sheet moss that we need for this arrangement. So let's head to Joann Fabrics, and then we'll come back and we're going to plant this beautiful basket up.
The moss should be over here. When I first came in, I seen a sign that said moss. So we'll walk down this aisle and hopefully they'll have the moss that we need. Now, I am looking for the sheet moss. Let's see what they have, and hopefully the prices are a lot cheaper than $6.99. Looks like an absolute deal. I'm not sure if the packaging is smaller, if it's a smaller bag, but when I went to Michael's only had one pack. I need more than one pack, but you can use this type of sheet moss right here, and it comes like on a grid. Can you guys see the grid here right there at the top? You can see the white lining. Let me see if I can find another one that shows the white lining a little bit better, the grid. Let me see. So right here, let's look at these ones right here. Okay, perfect. Here's a perfect example right here. It kind of looks like a carpet. I really don't like to use that kind. I like to use this type of sheet moss. So let me grab the bags that we need. And I really think 4 bags should be enough.
So I went ahead, I picked up 4 total. I have 2 of the bags here right now. Just in case we need more, we have 2 more bags that we can use. If I don't use them now, I love to have different types of moss and things like that on hand. Even though I have some on hand, it just wasn't enough. So we're going to start out by lining the bottom of our basket here. And when I do this, sometimes I'll use water, sometimes I won't. In this scenario, I'm not going to use any water. I'm just going to go ahead and just start lining my basket here. And if it overlaps, I'm completely fine with that. So I put my biggest piece in the bottom. And so all of the other pieces, I'm going to make sure that they're big and flat. So let's get the moss and just start separating the pieces. Some nice big pieces right here. We can come in and just start lining our basket here. And I don't mind if they overlap. So I have some plastic bags here, and for my projects I just like to kind of keep some industrial style type clear bags on hand. Although sometimes I will use black because black disappears. So we're just going to come in and we're just going to start to make a cut here. And so sometimes I'll line up the side of the bag, and I know I need to at least come right here. That gives me the opportunity to tuck in the rest of the bag here. So I'll cut this. Now when I'm doing this, I like to keep my bag together, and then I just set it on the inside. Sometimes I'll ball up the inside like that, and then I'll go in and I'll open up. Any moss that falls off the side can be replaced as soon as you get your soil back in there, and then it'll help keep it together. So now we'll open the bag up, and then let's add some soil. All right, now we'll get our plant in there. We are going to be using another Hellebore. Now, the plastic in. Now, sometimes I will cut the excess plastic off, and then other times I'll just fold it on in, because we are going to come in with a generous helping of moss. Because this is going in a different location than the other containers of Hellebores that I planted up, one being the window box, and then the other one we planted up to grace the table, we are going to come in with a different type of moss because it's going to give us a different vibe, a different feel. Also, I do want to point out that at this point in time, start to correct. Now let me get my gloves off because we can work a little bit better without the gloves. Now at this time, I like to come in and I start tucking in moss around the tips here. Because even though we're adding moss on the top of this, we still want our presentation to look right. And so this is when I'll start to come in. So I'll show you this edge right here. We're going to actually get a little bit messy with the moss because I want it to look textured. I want it to look layered. I want it to very much give is real moss, even though we know that we added this on the inside of it. So when you look at moss, moss kind of has those layers to it. And also I think it'll add a little 3D effect and make it more appealing to the eye. We come here, all you have to do is just pull your plastic back and just kind of just stuff around the parameter here. And I like when the brown shows through. Okay, so it looks like we have some pretty good coverage all the way around. So now we're going to go in and we're going to start to add our moss. So we're going to be using some Spanish moss here. Now I like to keep my Spanish moss on hand. The Spanish moss and the English moss, I'd run out of more. I normally always have some type of sheet moss on hand, but I have been doing a lot of containers lately that have had moss in them. So it just kind of just comes with the territory, but it's one of those type of mosses that you can find easily, whether you have to run into your local Walmart or your local craft store. You should be able to get your hands on it real easy. And then we have just a little bit more here in this corner. I'm so satisfied with the look here. Just to have a beautiful Hellebore coming up in the middle of all of this moss. We have our moss lined container. And then one of the things that kind of really just drew me to this basket here, one, I like the shape of it. Two, I like that the color on the bottom had that tan kind of feel, which I knew that that would be the route I was going to be taking with the moss on the top. So it actually works perfect. And you guys, I got this huge bag of Spanish moss here for $9 at Hobby Lobby, actually $8.99. And then if you catch it on sale, you know how sometimes Hobby Lobby will have those sales 40% off. That's really when I really like to go in and kind of stock up on things like moss and just any type of floral things that I need in my garden. I'm so excited. We have this project done. Next, what I want to do is, do you all remember when we started those hydrangeas? We took those hydrangea cuttings. Do y'all remember those? I know y'all remember when we took those hydrangea cuttings. I absolutely love hydrangeas. I love to utilize them in containers, and I also love to utilize them in ground. And when I say containers, I don't mean just coming in, taking one hydrangea and plopping them inside of a container, which that's gorgeous because I do that too. Don't get me wrong, and I'm definitely not throwing no shade, honey, because I love a good plant inside of a container. Okay, now that's one of the things I love. I love a good container garden, okay? We are going to work a little bit with hydrangeas. Now, to fill you all back in, if you haven't watched the video, we came in and we took some hydrangea cuttings over the summertime. I love to propagate plants, but one of the things I love about hydrangeas is they are so beautiful. Hydrangeas are just absolutely gorgeous. And what would a garden be without hydrangeas? Now, you do have some people that don't love hydrangeas, and I'm not hating, honey, because everybody have their own unique taste when it comes to gardening. Hydrangeas are a crowd pleaser, whether they are in ground or in containers. I love to use them in both applications. Last season, my big leaf hydrangeas did not bloom due to a late freeze, or you can say a frost. We were able to take several cuttings from them. We bumped them up into a larger container. Now, I want to go ahead and do a little bit of work with them. So what we're going to do, we're going to head into the plant room and we are going to look in on the hydrangeas. Our hydrangeas are looking rough. Let's clean that up a bit. Okay. So they're being forced to come out of dormancy, so we can start getting the blooms that we need. Same thing here. We'll clean this up a bit. So as we clean this up, and I'll come back through and get the leaves and stuff off of it. So can you guys see that? The start of our hydrangeas. Same thing here. Okay, so they're all waking back up. Let's clean this off. Okay, same thing there. We are going to give some water. Out.